Hey everyone, it's Antoinette, your visionary nurse, and welcome back to the Visionary Nurse Podcast. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, it's Antoinette, your host of the Visionary Nurse Podcast. I'm so excited to be here on what I'd like to term a Summer of Vision series. I always have these every single year, and I like to find different ways that we can motivate each other, inspire each other as we dare to be influentially visionary. If it's your first time tuning into Visionary Nurse Podcast, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I have a special guest with me today. But for those who are joining for the first time, or maybe it's been a little while, how are you? I'm Antoinette, your visionary nurse, and the Visionary Nurse Podcast is really just designed to uplift, encourage, and inspire us as we dare to be influentially visionary. I've had so many different spins and takes on this podcast. A lot of them have been motivational in nature. I've thrown in a little bit of understanding of how the shifts in healthcare and business sectors and society have impacted how we collaborate, how we work together, and how we do things in the community. And so I'm really excited to start with the Summer of Vision series and thinking about how we can dare each other to be influentially visionary in the different ways that we work within our communities, our homes, and our societies. So I'm really excited to have Mr. Calvin Whitmire here with me today from Bridging the Gap. He's located in Lawrence, South Carolina. He's the founder of Bridging the Gap and founded it in 2014. And so I have personally had the opportunity to work with Mr. Whitmire at Bridging the Gap and just the wonderful mission that he has. And so I'm going to give him an opportunity to talk about it so that I don't butcher it or mess it up, because I don't want to take away at all from what Bridging the Gap does, the amazing impact that it has in the community, and just what we can talk about in terms of collaboration, partnership, and daring each other to be influentially visionary. So, Mr. Whitmire, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Antoinette. Great opportunity. I'm thankful, thank God, number one, for giving me the passion and the foresight. They always said, the word of God was saying, write the vision and make it plain. Mm-hmm. And God has shown me back in 2013 actually, and followed up by just following through with it, helping children, bridging the gap between kids' gift and their future by using health and wellness, education, enrichment, and exposure. We believe if we see it, we can believe it. If we read about it, we go see about it. We want to make sure these kids understand that you too can be successful.
Absolutely. And that's so good, especially thinking about the need for being able to do that for children and to have that written into your vision. Because especially with, again, so many different shifts in society, we've recognized that not only do we need to impact our current vision, but we have to impact future visions as well too, right?
Absolutely.
And I love that verse that you shared. Write the vision and make it plain. And a lot of people who have followed along with the Visionary Nurse platform and just what this podcast talks about, and especially just on social media platforms, and just what I like to embody is really biblically what God says about our God-given visions, how we can use the talents, the gifts, the things that he's given us to impact other people. And so I just love how you're using your talent and gift to also inspire the talent and gifts and the future talents and gifts of the children that you impact. So maybe you can dive in a little bit and say, tell a little bit about Mr. Whitmire, tell a little bit about, what drove you to this point.
To be honest with you, Antoinette, I had no intention of coming back to Lawrence, South Carolina. Doing well in Atlanta, traveling. Sales is my background. I attended the University of South Carolina. Had an opportunity God just used my gift, allowed me to use my gift in various companies to excel in sales, because building relationships is something that God blessed me to be very good at. Mm-hmm. But after being away for a while and coming back in South Carolina and coming back to Lawrence due to family situations with health, and God gave me a vision one night. It just tore with me all night long. It's like I was wrestling with it all night long, getting ready to go back to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And I seen kids walking aimlessly through the neighborhood. And he just put it in my heart. it's something has to be done with these kids. You know, they have seem to have no directions. And consequently, I was able to connect with the late Miss Doris P. Patterson, and she was a former teacher. I said, look, I want to do something. I want to start a tutorial program, help tutor these kids. And Miss Patterson, Lord bless her soul and rest in peace, she started calling former teachers, getting them together. Before I know it, I had about 6, 7 teachers, retired teachers, who was coming like, we willing to help put this together. And this building right here that we're in was dormant. It used to be a church, and they said they was not going to make it a church again. And I started asking questions about how can we obtain it. And Miss Patterson started putting me in connection with the superintendent of the United Methodist Church. And I shared my vision with him of what I think this could be. And I said, I just want to start an after-school tutorial program. And they said, well, okay. It took a year. I wouldn't turn loose, though. I took a year, and finally, the superintendent said, this must be of God, because you won't let go. And so they allowed us to come into this building. And fast forward, the tutorial program turned into a year-round program where we have multiple components of this program. We have the agriculture part, kids learning how to plant seeds, see it grow. We have the etiquette part, where kids learn how to prepare tables, how to prepare healthy meals. And not only that, we believe that if you train the kid up in the way it should go according to God's word, if you depart, we wouldn't go far from it.
Right.
And we try to put them in the path so they can be successful. And our program includes the parents. Parental involvement is a key component of our program.
Right.
They can't drop their kids and just go. They have to spend at least 1 to 2 days out of a week at our program.
Wow.
And sometimes you're going to get pushed back because it's a change.
Right.
But we try to make it where we put people in their lane they're comfortable at.
Right.
And but this being our 10th year.
Wow.
And I look back, Antoinette, I'm like, some people gave us 10 weeks, 10 days. So God has really blessed us. And now that we have a full-blown program where we have retired teachers come in, and they've been phenomenal. All us non-paid, fully volunteer.
Wow.
And I think some people don't understand the gravity of that. This is people giving of their time. Now, we've been blessed.
Right.
And one thing that really motivates me, it was a teacher who helped save my life.
Wow.
And I share this with people from different states where I travel to. I was a special ed kid. It was a special ed teacher who saved me.
Wow.
Wasn't that I didn't have the ability. I had issues that she dared to address.
Wow.
And once she addressed them, things came to fruition. Things started happening in a positive manner. And I used some of her same concept of using gardening, farming as a way to build self-esteem in kids, because it helped build my self-esteem. And sometimes it's the only thing that's missing. Sometimes they're self-esteem and they're confident.
Right.
And it helped build confidence. You put 2 kids in a room and they both getting the same information, but they see more of their people doing great things. It builds confidence in them.
Absolutely.
So now what I try to do is, or what we try to do, is make sure we identify kids' gift early. Everybody's not going to college,
right? But
everybody has a gift, and it's up to us to discover it. And once we do, the world kind of opened up to these kids. So we are so proud to be in our 10th year. We're so proud of some of the services and programs that we have here. We introduce them to music, foreign language. Not too many programs like that,
right?
In our community anyway. In our community, it's not a lot of program. And we introduce them to being able to see, if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be a computer analyst, all that, you have an opportunity to be just that. But let's see what it takes. Let's put together a plan, see what it takes, and then reinforce it. So we're so thankful. It's been a blessing. It's less about me, more about what we can do as a service to the people.
That's so good. And I mean, I'm just sitting here like soaking it in, because it really is a testament to understanding to run with a vision and to even take every single step towards it. And it's beautiful, because oftentimes on, for example, my Instagram platform, I'm constantly encouraging people that don't despise small beginnings, right?
Absolutely.
Don't despise those small steps. And I actually just posted something, and I'm going to bring it up really quickly because everything that you were talking about, it just reminded me so much in thinking about, especially when someone wants to dare to be influentially visionary, like I always like to say, you think that it's just going to all come out perfect and clean and it's just going to all come together all in one shot. But it seems like you've taken those steps and built on it. And the other piece that I really loved was that when you had the vision, knowing what it was and the other people who wanted to support that, they ran to support that.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times there's going to be the right people that are going to support your vision, even if you don't even fully understand it yourself, that when you know it's truly a God-given vision, that he's going to make sure it happens no matter what.
Absolutely.
No matter what,
Absolutely.
right? You said
Absolutely.
somebody gave you 10 weeks and here you are 10 years later.
later.
Like, that's just amazing to me. But I just wanted to pull it up really quickly because I just think that everything you were talking about so much resonates with it and it just really makes sense. But I posted, small beginnings are just as valuable as great outcomes. Don't ever discount where you are today. Instead, see it as a stepping stone to where you're hoping to be tomorrow. And that's essentially what you've done. You had these seemingly small situations, right? You went from sales to education and empowerment. You start off saying that, people, society labeled you with, potentially a deficit or of some sort, right? Special education. People have this lower classification for some reason, but it doesn't mean that you don't have big dreams, big goals, and that you have the ability to learn. You might just need to do it in a different way.
Absolutely.
You might just need to rework or rewire how you look at it. And someone saw your vision, they saw the seed of that, and they took it and they said, you know what? I'm going to plant this and I'm going to see it grow. And so not only did you discount yourself, you didn't count yourself out, but you said, I also see all the other children who may potentially try to discredit themselves. And I'm going to take the same seed that was planted in me and plant it in them as well and see them flourish and grow too. And so I love that, even in the middle of seeing the vision and getting the dream of the vision, you still had to wrestle with it, And I'd love for you to talk about that a little bit, because a lot of times, again, especially those who are on visionary journeys, again, those who've tracked with me for a while, who, just realize that when it comes to your vision, you have to keep going, right? You have to keep moving forward. Every day is not always roses. Everyone's not always running after your vision, but you have to run with it, right? You have to run with it. You have to make it plain. And you have to even kind of decide for yourself, is this something I want to gravitate to? And so even if it took, 1 day or 1 year, here you are. Here you are. You did not let it stop there, but maybe talk about some of the challenges that you encountered. You hinted at them a little bit, but maybe a little bit more.
I think in the early beginning is to be able to position the program where people can understand where you're headed with this. And also, when you come from a small town, oftentimes some people might have had the same idea. And you know what ensure when you think somebody you took your vision from them.
Understood.
And sometimes you can get into a situation where you're going to have haters.
A little bit of competition, right?
I'm going to put it plain.
Put it a little bit stronger.
You're going to have some haters. You're going to have some people that will talk so not so good about you, but it's okay. It fuels the fire for me. My thing is never take my mind off of what's important. It's the kids. It's not about me. It's not about them. It's about the kids.
Right.
And sometimes the message get lost because of the messenger. And I didn't want that to happen. Also, in the early beginning, when you had no funding, it was tough, but God blessed me to be able to use my own funding to further the vision. And if I had to do it all over again, Antoinette, I would do it again, because I feel that when a child come back, or a young man or young lady come back, like a couple of weeks ago, a couple of kids came back from USC, and they came through this program. Both of them got scholarships.
Wow.
Received scholarships. One of them received a baseball scholarship, but he was academia. God bless him. He came back and said, well, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. I didn't see what you was doing in the beginning.
Right.
But what y'all did here had an impact on me. And the young lady did the same thing. She said, what we taught here, public speaking, That's almost unheard of in an after-school program,
Right.
focusing on public speaking, getting in front of people. She said it had an impact on her being able to do interviews, on her being able to close the deal on her scholarships.
Wow.
So when you hear things like that, you say, well, all is not lost and all is not lost. And it gives you more motivation to keep moving forward. And some of the challenges, again, is sometimes within your own community because they don't understand where you're trying to go and where you're trying to take the people, and you have pushbacks, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's been uncomfortable.
Right.
But I'm a firm believer. I have to be okay being uncomfortable as long as it's for the right reason.
Absolutely.
And I believe that making good trouble, if you will, for the right reason.
Right.
And as far as my kids, I love my kids. My kids know that I love them. Now I'm a little fussbox sometimes, but I love my kids, and the parents know it. The real parent, the kids will tell you the truth.
Right.
They'll tell you the truth about yourself, and the parents know it. And I'm fortunate, and we're fortunate to know that we're making somewhat of an impact on a lot of people, not just our people, not just people of color, but there's been Caucasian, Hispanics come through our program, and we have that environment that said inclusivity is huge for us. We want to be inclusive, and we have Hispanic on our staff. So we try to reach across the aisle and bridge gaps in any way we can to make sure a kid get a full opportunity to be successful.
And that's so important, especially, again, thinking about every piece of the puzzle that's led you to this point, right?
Right.
Recognizing that, number one, no one should be left out. Recognizing that, sometimes you don't know what someone's small beginnings are going to be later, right?
That's right.
Like you see their small beginning now, but you don't know what it's going to lead to. So to have children who have come through here that also have now excelled and moved forward in their vision, that's something that I love, especially as a vision and purpose coach. That's one of the biggest things that I like to encourage in people is don't discredit your vision. Don't discredit what you are going to do. And even if it's just one person that you're impacting, you are changing the trajectory for someone. You are setting them up to be able to inspire their own vision, to move forward into where they're going or what they need to do. And so I just love that. I love that you have been intentional about what you want to do and then being able to carry that through, right? Because I think that's the hard part about being a visionary, is being able to take the vision, but then also staying with the vision. Because a lot of times, when you have a lot of ideas or things come to you, or you're making these big impacts or breaking through something that's pioneering, right? Maybe it's like you said, you have haters, you have competition, or someone may think, well, your vision looks like mine, so you stole it from me. No, everyone's vision is actually quite unique. And it's just figuring out how you run with your vision, right? And so being able to see that, gravitate towards that, and keep moving with that regardless. And a lot of times, and I've talked about this often as well, is that a lot of times we can be misunderstood in our vision, right? People may think that we have stolen something from them, or that we're somehow stepping over them because they may be misunderstanding our intentions, right? But the biggest piece is staying true and being intentional about conveying that, I'm doing this with integrity. And it doesn't mean that we just blow past people and, we do this and that, but really, truly being intentional, being pure, being focused, and knowing that sometimes you may be misunderstood, but at the end of the day, your outcomes and your results, that's the big factor, right? For that person to come back and say, because of the public speaking, I was looking at the paper, of your schedule, you have public speaking on there, you have enrichment activities, you have all these things that are amazing and incredible. And there may be other people doing those things. And this is to encourage those who may be listening. Don't be afraid to continue on a vision that may look similar to someone else's. It doesn't mean that you copy every little thing that they're doing. I'm not saying that your vision doesn't have its own uniqueness, but don't be afraid that just because someone in the next town over may remotely have something that looks like yours, that somehow that's it. It's over for you. God is very, very strategic about how he does things. And sometimes he sets people up for partnership in that way too, right? Absolutely. Sometimes he sets us up to be able to collaborate. Sometimes he knows, the tasks that you need to focus on, you may not be able to reach every single child everywhere, but you're really good at reaching the children where you are right now, where you are here. And that's making an impact for them to go where they need to go. But also there may be someone who needs to partner with you, or you need to partner with them.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times, again, in our visionary pursuits, people can get very lost in but I have to make it happen this way. But recognizing that a lot of times our visions are going to be so big that we have to have someone to partner with.
That's
And
right.
so I don't know if you can even speak to ways that you've had to collaborate with people, partnerships you've had to form, recognizing, you know what, I can't do this on my own. I may have the vision, I may have made it plain,
You're right.
but I
You're
still
right.
need other people to make it happen.
Listen, I tell you, 16, 17, 18 hours a day, doing everything
Mm-hmm.
you want. One thing I wanted this campus to be, I wanted to be clean.
Mm.
I didn't want not one litter on our property.
Right.
Because it says something about you.
Right.
It says something about the organization. We've had to partner with churches, United Methodist churches. We've partnered with the YMCA to bring programs. We partner with Prism Health. They see, once you start doing things and you look like you're winning, people start taking a double take at you. It wasn't about me. We have an amazing staff. We have an amazing volunteer staff, second to none in the country. Most of them have either master's or a doctorate, less than a bachelor's. And it's amazing. They don't get paid. And I don't have to ask 3 and 4 times for them to do something.
Wow.
And that's a great resource to have, great people to have. And, Dr. German DeSasa is one of our faculty members, if you will. Mr. Harold Ligon, Miss Carolyn Ligon, Mr. Anwar Ligon, Miss Shirley Jefferson. These are the people, Miss Susan Cook. These are the people who are giving of their time. And more in the late, great, in my opinion, Miss Doris Patterson. She was an amazing woman.
Wow.
She was she had my back. Loyalty, unreal loyalty, but she kept me going.
Right.
She really did. And so I'm so thankful to have partnership not only with retirees, retired educators, but in the school district. I have to be honest with you. The school district, 55 and 56 too.
Right.
I had to get over some hurdles. Sometimes my reputation precedes myself, but it's okay. It's okay. As long as it doesn't distort the message, I'm about my children. If we're about the children, we should have that in common. Right. And so with those type partnerships that have existed, you got Lawrence County Water and Sewer, you got CPW, a lot of these supporters have come to the aid of Bridging the Gap because they say y'all are doing a lot with little. We have a small budget, but God has really blessed us in a mighty way to be able to reach out, and people see when they start seeing the progress. Not you talking it, but they seeing it. Right. It's more impactful. Right. And so we're thankful for that, and we continue to try to nourish these relationships, and so we can build a better brand, if you will, saying people that do, not just talk, they do. Right. And we are truly thankful. We're actually getting ready to trying to do a bike trail. Okay. Kids, they call it Outride. The name of the program is Outride. Somebody trying to outride something. If it's emotion, if it's mental, we use cycling to help kids get rid of the stress and the depression, or deal with it better. And also obesity. Kids are out being more active. So I'm praying that we'll get the right funding to have the bike trail in our community, as well as a walking trail for senior citizens. This is a collaborative effort with the city, the school, District 55, as well as CPW. I hope and pray that I'm here to see it to fruition. Yeah. And I just want to see community winning. And that's one of the way they win. If people are out being more active, more engaging. Right. Because COVID-19 set a lot of the country back. And I think having them to reignite some of that energy, collectively come together, I think it bodes well for a healthier community. Right.
And I can, definitely speak to it personally, just thinking about how I had an opportunity to work with your organization for a little bit when we were on a mutual committee. And it was just so wonderful seeing how you were willing to do anything and everything to make sure people knew about Bridging the Gap and also that you were a viable source for the community. We were out there handing out food boxes when everything else was shut down and we could only be outside. We were right there, and you used your place as a host site so people in the community could come by and pick up food boxes, pick up fresh vegetables. Even coming back now after a couple of years of not having come by, and I see the greenhouse that's out there and the court that's out there now, the basketball court where that area was a parking lot and now it's an open lawn, and just the different things that have happened. I've seen for myself the transformation between, a couple of years to now. And so even having a chance to come through and seeing the kids and their activities and those types of things, the maps on the wall and the teachers that are there, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And so, you know what? I just commend you. I thank you for being visionary. I thank you for taking your vision and daring someone else to be influentially visionary and being able to say, you know what? I have something that God gave me. I know what he told me. I may not be fully on board just yet, but I'm going to run with it. And then from that point, once you accepted it, he sent the people around you to say, you know what? We're going to help you grow. And it's not to say that you have all the kinks figured out, but at the same time, you're saying, but I know what he told me. And I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to say that if he gave me this vision, he's going to sustain it, right?
Absolutely.
He's going to sustain the whole thing.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it comes with, him sending the right people to support it in one way, shape, or form. And so I don't know if you can talk about, while we're kind of wrapping up, how can people support what you all do? How can they help if they're in the local area, or if they're not in the local area? What can they do to see Bridging the Gap continue to bridge the gap?
Hey, listen, I challenge particularly our classmates and our schoolmates have done extremely well, that they're doing well in other people's community, giving back to other people's community. I would pray that you would go to bridgingthegapadvocacy.org and click, and if you can help our mission by giving, that's a huge plus. Also, if there's retired educators out there that can spend one day out of a week at our program, it don't have to be a full day, maybe an hour or two. It's such a blessing. My thoughts are this: I'm thankful for retired educators who have spent 30, 40 years. I understand you put your time in, but I want you to know there's a different type of fight out there now. And the literacy rate is rising. It's going up every day. I just challenge you all to say, can we pay a little bit more on the front end so we pay a less on the back end? Because if we don't help these children now, and they're struggling now, they start making jails for kids in second and third grade based on their reading scores. We don't want that. Let's try to do more on the front end. And I truly believe that we will make an amazing difference in these children's lives if we pay more attention to them on the front end. For those who can give, because they're far off, go to bridgingthegapadvocacy.org. It's tax deductible. We're 501c3. We're federally regulated. So we try to do things what's right. And if for those who can give some of their time that's locally, please, it's only an hour a week. An hour a week can make such an impact on a kid. So we're thankful for those who have and those who are willing to do that. It's amazing how much time can go by when you're doing great things for great people. And it's not about the individual, it's about the vision. And I'm so thankful, Antoinette, that you reached out, extended yourself to Bridging the Gap. Because when it becomes about Calvin Whitmire, then I need to close up the shop, because then it's a selfish, and I don't want to be selfish. I just want to remember that Mary Virginia Clark, a teacher who dared to say, "I'll take him" when nobody else wanted him, and I was surely made sure that people didn't want me because I had ADHD, ADD, and I was BAD. All wrapped up into one. So, I was a handful. So I was thankful there was one teacher that took the time. So I'll never forget that. So I try to be patient with all my kids because I have to consider myself. So again, it's been challenging, but it's been worth it.
Amen.
It has been worth it. And if I do it over again, I would do it again 100 times over, because I realize that this is what I need to be doing. This is my purpose. When one finds out their purpose And he will never give you a vision without making provision. And he's given everything I need. And he's given even more, opening up more doors. Even he said he will make an enemy your footstool. And he have done that before me.
Wow.
So I'm thankful. He's shown miracles and before my eyes, he performed miracles before my eyes that I know that God is sitting high, looking low. And he's moved in my life. I'm not all what I want to be, but I'm sure not what I used to be. So I'm thankful.
That's so good. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Whitmire, for being here. Thank you for sharing this time. Thank you for sharing about Bridging the Gap and the work that you're doing and the work that others are supporting with you that are doing it to bridge that gap so that there are future gifts and talents that are inspired and that move forward. And we just thank all of you for joining into this episode and a part of the Summer of Vision series and just getting a chance to hear about others that are out there doing amazing things in their local communities, being able to dare someone else to be influentially visionary. So if you'd like to support Bridging the Gap, go to that website, bridgingthegapadvocacy.org. And we'll put this in the show notes as well. And we'll put it on the links into our website as well, too, so that you can learn a little bit more about Bridging the Gap. And if you're in the local area in Lawrence, South Carolina, by all means, if you're a retired educator, or maybe you have some other skill set, be available for Bridging the Gap and what they're doing here. So that's all the time that we have. Thank you again. I am Antoinette, your visionary nurse, host of the Visionary Nurse podcast. And this podcast is just designed to educate, uplift, and inspire us as we dare to be influentially visionary. I'll see you soon. Take care. Stay visionary.